that. So I'm going to go ahead and separate the radical onto the numerator and denominator. To get rad 11 over rad x. So then we're getting somewhere, but then we have a radical in the denominator, and we don't want that. So I'm going to rationalize it by multiplying the top and bottom by it. So you know that this will be x squared, and that'll be, you just multiply, right? Okay, and I don't suggest doing this because you know this will already be x when you have the same thing being multiplied. You looked at that, but I'm just writing it. So then you get rad 11x over x. And there's no more radical on the bottom, so we've simplified enough. Okay, this is for you to try. Alright, so you notice a radical on the denominator, you don't want it there, so you're going to multiply the top and bottom by it. So then this will just become 8. It's going to become square root of 64, and that becomes 8, but I'm going to start writing that now, because I think, yeah. So then you get this 3 right here, and then multiply these guys together to get a 56. Okay, so you know, the better idea would have been for me to not multiply these together, because I noticed 8 has a perfect something, whatever, that comes out. So this will be 8 on the bottom for sure. And then we have this 3 here, and we have the rad 7. But then let's rewrite this rad 8 as 2 times 4. Okay, so then you come over here, then you got the 3. Now what's going to come out is this 4 is a 2, right? So you got 3 times 2 times rad 7. And then there's the rad 2 also, right? Because you can, again, separate these. And that's all over 8. So now multiplying these radicals, you get rad 14. You have the 8 here, and 3 times 2 is 6. So then this simplifies to 3/4. So you get rad 14. 3/4. So that's the answer. Alright, so we're going to move on to the conjugate method. It's really like the second type of the rationalizing the denominator that I was talking about. Because see, now you got something being added or subtracted onto that radical. It's not just the radical by itself. So we're going to go about using the conjugate method. So I want to just review something before we do the conjugate method. So let's say we had like 5 plus rad 3 times 5 minus rad 3. Notice these are identical, they just have the opposite sign in the middle. So what happens when you multiply this and FOIL this out? Let's go ahead and find out. So this is what I do when I FOIL. So you get 5 times 5, which is 25. Then you get 5 times a negative rad 3, which is a negative 5 rad 3. So we distributed this. Now we just got to distribute this rad 3. So rad 3 times a positive 5 is a positive 5 rad 3. And then rad 3 times a negative rad 3. So that'll be rad 9. We know it's going to be 3, but again, I'm just writing that out. So you get 25. And then notice the middle term here cancels because you got 5 rad 3 and minus 5 rad 3. Minus and 29, 9 is 3, the square root of that. So then we get 22. But the point was that when you multiply two things that are identical with the opposite sign, the middle term cancels out. So, you know, this is really a difference of squares here. And if you notice something like this, you could just straight jump to a shortcut conclusion to just squaring the first and last term, because that's all we really needed. Because this middle term cancels, so 5 squared is 25, and rad 3 squared is 3, and that got us straight to the answer. So now, erase all this. The reason I brought that up is because we have this problem to do right now, and we're going to use the conjugate method to go about it. Alright, so with this example, what we're going to try to do to get this radical outside of the denominator is go about the conjugate method. So we're going to multiply the bottom and top by the same thing that's sitting here, but with the opposite sign. So we get 3 minus rad 7 and 3 minus rad 7. Again, this is like multiplying by a form of 1, because this is just 1, so it's legal. Okay, so now we just multiply this out and get rid of that rad on the bottom, which was a problem in the first place. So whenever you're multiplying the same thing with the opposite sign, it's always going to be the first one squared, which is 3 squared would be 9. There's always going to be a subtraction sign in between them. And then rad 7 squared would be 7. Okay, we looked at this, right? Up here, you have to multiply this 6 into here. So 6 is going to get distributed into 3 minus rad 7. So then we get a 2 on the bottom. Then we're going to pop this guy in to get an 18 minus 6 rad 7. Okay, here we wouldn't be done because you could split up the LCD and 2 would go into 18 and 6. So you come over here and you split up the LCD, which is 18 over 2 minus 6 rad 7 over 2. This will be 9. This will be 3. I like slashing. Sorry, I got carried away there. Okay, so then this would be the final answer. 9 minus 3 rad 7. And I'm going to have you guys try an example. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and try this. 5 over 2 minus rad 3, and you got a rad on the bottom, which is what we don't want. So go ahead and give it a shot, and then I'll go over it with you. Alright, so what we're going to do is multiply the bottom and top by the same thing that's sitting here, but with the opposite sign. So it's minus, so we're going to do plus. So it's going to be 2 plus rad 3, and then it's going to be 2 plus rad 3. And then when you multiply the same thing with the opposite sign, we know it's just going to be the first one squared, so 2 squared is 4. There's always going to be a subtraction sign in the middle. What the? And then you just square the last term. So rad 3 squared would be 3. So and then we have to multiply the 5 into here. Okay, so this just becomes 1, right? So we just dealt with this now. So you get a 10 out of that. Alright, so that would be it. 10 plus 5 rad 3. So thank you. This was